The Hungarian Grand Prix has been ever present on the Formula One calendar since 1986. The 2025 edition makes this the 40th running of this event in the Formula One era, and we'll obviously celebrate the 40th anniversary of the first Hungarian Grand Prix in 1986 next year. But which have been the most incredible moments? Which moments have stood out above the rest as the most absolutely incredible in this Eastern European nation? And Hungary is a bit of a landmark event. It was the first race to be held behind the Iron Curtain in what was formerly known as Eastern Europe. Of course, we had the Russian Grand Prix, that's come and gone, and Azerbaijan, I don't really count that as Europe, to be honest with you. That's too east to be Europe, in my opinion. But which have been the main moments here over the decades at the Hungarian Grand Prix? Which are the 5 best, in my opinion? Well, I've picked out 5 for you guys, but I could easily do 10, 15. This is a track that usually produces drama, and here are a few examples of it. So, we'll go all the way back to 1986 for the first of these moments, the first ever race around this track, and we've got one of the best ever overtakes as well. Nelson Piquet and Ayrton Senna. Despite both being Brazilian, these two did not like each other, it's more than fair to say. In the early stages of this Grand Prix, Senna led in his Lotus, but Nelson Piquet was on a mission. He was chasing his compatriot down, but he couldn't get past. Hungary is a very difficult track to overtake around, and Senna is a very difficult man to overtake as well. But that didn't stop Piquet putting in one of the most incredible manoeuvres I have ever seen in a Formula One car. He overtook Senna going into turn 1 on full opposite lock. You would never ever see that nowadays. If you attempted to do that nowadays in a modern Formula One car, you'd be in the gravel or in the wall. Piquet wrestled his Williams around though and went on to take the victory. First man to win the Hungarian Grand Prix since Tarzio Nuvolari back in 1936, well before the Formula One days, of course. But Senna was overtaken a few times around this track, and very spectacularly on a few occasions as well, and the second of these is another move on him as well in 1989. This time it was Nigel Mansell who overtook him, who put on one of the most incredible performances in his time at Ferrari. He really earned the Il Leone nickname that he got from the Tifosi because of performances like this. He started 12th on the grid, but he managed to power through and win the race, partly thanks to that incredible move that he put on Ayrton Senna as well. Who says you can't overtake around Hungary? Mansell absolutely could, and this was without doubt one of the best overtaking manoeuvres in his career. The best? Let us know in the comments below. But from one Ferrari legend to another, Michael Schumacher in 1998, this guy was absolutely incredible. We know how good Schumacher was, and one of his best ever performances, in my opinion, came at the 1998 Hungarian Grand Prix. The McLarens were faster. They were on the conventional strategy, but Ross Brawn had an idea. How about we make Michael stay out there and absolutely gun it? Go as fast as he can for a few laps to do an extra pit stop, burn off all that excess fuel. He said on the radio to Michael, we need you to do a bunch of qualifying laps now. Michael then just said, okay, and he proceeded to do so. As it turns out, Hakkinen had some car problems later on in the race, but he still would have won anyway with Schumacher. Such was his incredible performances on what he hoped would have been his first title for Ferrari. Didn't happen that year, but it would happen a few years later. And 8 years after that moment, let's go to 2006. Jenson Button's first Formula One victory. Button was tipped as a future world champion. Of course, he would eventually become a Formula One world champion in the most unlikely of circumstances at a brand new team at Brawn in 2009. But at this point, Button's career was kind of stalling. He had a very good year in 2004, was regularly on the podium, the only guy who got anywhere near to the Ferraris during that year, but he never got the win. He was waiting so long for a win. This was his 7th season in Formula One. When was this victory going to come? Well, again, it came in incredibly unlikely circumstances. The first ever wet weather Hungarian Grand Prix was won by Jenson Button in a storming drive from the midfield in the most unlikely of circumstances. The usual challengers of Michael Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso all fell by the wayside, and it opened up a route for Jenson Button to take his first victory in the sport. The pictures of him with his eyes absolutely beaming wide open like that going out of the helmet, it meant everything to him, and all those years of hard work finally paid off. And of course, he'd get even bigger rewards later on in his career with, of course, that World Championship in 2009, and eventually driving for McLaren for 7 years to bookend his time in Formula One. But we got to talk, if we're going to talk about one specific moment as just being absolutely manic. I mean, there's been a few of them, but I can't help myself but mention the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix. This was absolutely incredible. Everybody came into the pits at the start of the race to put on new tyres, to put on dry tyres, I believe it was. And the only guy who stayed out on intermediate tyres to take the grid was Sir Lewis Hamilton, making it one of the oddest shots in Formula One history. Very, very peculiar to say the very least, seeing one driver take the 5 red lights, and it cost Hamilton dearly. He was hoping to win that race, but was nowhere near it in the end, although I believe he did gain points on his championship rival that year, Max Verstappen, but we know what happened later on in that campaign. But yeah, those are 5 moments that really stand out to me from the Hungarian Grand Prix over the decades, guys. Which are your favourite moments from Hungary over the years? Let us know in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this, and have a great day here in the world today, guys. Let's hope for a fantastic Magyar Nagedij this weekend, guys. See you soon.